Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the show. Now, I'll tell you what, today is Tuesday, April 3rd, 2018. I'm really glad to have you guys here. Now, we're going to get right started. Well, we're going to open the charts right here. Okay? Now, here's the thing. First thing we're going to look at is cryptocurrency. We're at Bitstamp. And the current price is $7,311 for Bitcoin. Now on this chart you can see, I've put it in for you, you can see, let me see, I'll go back and right here, you can see at 64.27, that was when Bitcoin started to move upwards again. And it's moved up nearly $1,000. This is the move I was expecting. This is the melt up. It's not going to be very strong, this move. It might take Bitcoin up, I don't know, maybe 9, 10,000. It could take it up 9, 10,000. I was expecting this move for it to take Bitcoin up, and it's going to continue. This move is going to continue until the stock market hits 20,000. So the stock market's melting down right now, and why this move is taking place, it's all got to do with something called a flight to quality. People recognize that Bitcoin, Litecoin, and all of the cryptocurrencies are quality. It's the same thing back in 1964 when the U.S. had change in their purse. And they looked through their change, and they saw some of their change was made out of pure silver, or 90% silver. And some of their change was made out of junk steel, or copper or whatever, junk. It was garbage. So they would pick through and they would pick out the white-colored silver coins. And there was a lot of them. Half of the coins were white-colored silver. But within a couple months, those white-colored coins started disappearing, and then you'd only see one every now and again because everybody was picking them out and putting them away for themselves in bottles and stuff and hiding them behind the sofa and stuff like that. And so they started to disappear. That's a flight to quality. The same thing happened in the Roman Empire. The coins, the denarius and stuff, they used to coat them with silver. And so you had silver scrapers, professional silver scrapers, who would scrape the silver off of the coins, and then they would sell the coins for the face value, and after the silver was all scraped off, and then they'd keep the silver for themselves. This is what's being happened. People are recognizing that Bitcoin is limited quantity. A Bitcoin is a deflationary currency. Bitcoin is like and Litecoin is like the silver, but it's in a digital form. And they can see that this is quality, whereas their fiat currencies are garbage. Okay, so let's take a look at the cryptocurrency's history, just going back to 2009. What's its history? Well, we see its price moving upwards. You could buy Bitcoin back then for like 20 cents. Now Bitcoin is like $7,000 each. In the same amount of time, what's happened to the fiat currencies? They're garbage. So people are recognizing this flight to quality. They're moving to quality, and they're buying because they're frightened. Why are they frightened? They see the stock market rolling over. They see the bond market rolling over. They see everything trembling, and they're looking for safe havens, but they're not looking to silver and gold. And you say, well, why? Why don't they go to silver and gold? Because that's it's the greatest safe haven of all. And the reason why is, one of the things is a lot of the younger people who are investing right now, they do not like gold and silver because it's old-fashioned. And they like this new technology. They like the idea of new technology. There's one thing involved. Another thing is probably the biggest factor, is why they're not moving into gold and silver quite yet, is the fact that it's been manipulated so heavily by the banks. They're frightened that the price is going to go down to $10 on silver, and they're frightened that the price is going to go under $1,000 on gold if they buy in any significant way. And they've seen massive moves upwards in the price of cryptocurrency. And cryptocurrency, they've seen a massive move downwards, and now they're thinking to themselves, hey, you know what? Cryptocurrencies went down so far, now it's going to bounce back up again. I'm going to get in on that ride. I'm going to buy on the dip. And this is what's happening. And so that's why we're seeing this move upwards in the crypto right now, in the crypto space. A lot of it makes a lot of sense why we're seeing this move upwards, but it's going to be very limited. And the reason why is because ultimately, when the real fear sets in, they're going to say to themselves, hey, you know what? I don't care that the gold price has been manipulated downwards. They're going to say to themselves, everything else is falling. The world is falling. The financial world is falling apart. When the stock market goes below 20,000, this is what they're going to say. The world's falling apart. I need to grab a hold of a life preserver. And then gold and silver is suddenly going to become in their eye as a life preserver. And at that point, they're going to let go of everything else, except for they're going to want to be in cash, gold, and silver. Those are the three places they're going to run to in the final stage of this thing, when the stock market real fear hits. And I'm going to tell you when the real fear hits is when we see the 1,000-point drops starting, multiple. You see a 1,000-point drop, and then the next day another 1,000-point drop in the stock market. That's when the real fear is going to hit. It hasn't hit yet, okay? So that's when you're going to see your cryptocurrencies fall too, is when the real fear hits. So this cryptocurrency is going to continue to creep upwards, I believe, until the stock market really starts to fall big. And so how many days until the stock market really starts to fall big? Well, I don't know. Maybe the stock market could start to creep back a little bit or meander along the way it is now for a little while before it finally falls. It could make a little bit of a dead cat bounce maneuver and creep up a little bit before it falls. But the fall's coming. And when the fall hits, this is when cryptocurrency is going to roll over too. Because everybody is going to hit that real fear. So what's silver doing today? Well, this is why they're not buying in. Let's take a look. Let's take a look and see, shall we, why they're not buying into silver and gold. Be afraid. Be very afraid. This is why they're not buying in. Right here. Look at the green line today. And look, down 21 cents. Price manipulation. This is why they're not buying in. Because the price is being still manipulated downwards by the banks. And they know it. And this is why the only flight to safety that's really occurring right now, and a flight to quality, is in the cryptocurrencies. Because of the price manipulation. It's sick. This is sick. What's going on is sick. But it's going to come to a sudden jolting halt. And then everything's going to change for the gold and silver markets at a certain point. Okay, so now let's take a look at the stock market today. She's up 118 points right now, but I want to tell you something right now. Today, this market is extremely volatile and jittery, and it's actually pointing toward the downside today. Even though she's up 118 points, that is so what I would call tentative. That is so on such shaky ground, we could lose that 118 points in 10 minutes today. I'm going to tell you, that 118 points is on such shaky ground, it's like a man walking on quicksand. You know, and he could go down in any second. That could go down and we could be in the red. We could be in negative numbers today on the stock market within a matter of minutes. That could drop. In fact, I expect it very probably we could have quite a large down day today. If any little thing could send it down. So it might hold, but I feel like it's on quicksand. You know. Today, I feel like it's on quicksand because the market is just trembling today. And anyway, okay, let's take a look at the crude oil. We've seen a sudden drop here a couple of days ago, and now it's been just going along level after the drop. 63.19 for crude oil. Oh, I didn't tell you what the market was. It was 23,762. There it is. That's what the market is right today. Anyway, let's go on back to crude oil. Crude oil is just going along at $63.19 for sweet light crude oil. And I don't expect it to go over 70 for right now in the short term, and I don't expect it to drop too much under 60. And so it could go up a little bit, probably to around 65. Really, that's what I'm thinking. Now, bonds and rates. We're seeing the bonds rising today again. Now they're starting to rise, but not significantly. But they're starting to rise. And we're going to have to wait on this a little bit because this is just the first day. We had quite a little drop in the bond rates. I said that the bottom was 2.7 on the U.S. 10-year, or what I figured it would go to in this short term. It went down to 2.73, so it got down near my bottom. But now it's creeping back up again, and I'm expecting it to head to 3% now at this point. That's where I'm expecting it's going. Now that it's going back up again, I'm expecting it to head to 3%. Cryptocurrency market capitalizations. We're looking at 276 billion. Probably in the next week, I'm expecting it to go back up probably to 300 billion. But I'm not expecting it to go back up to the 700 plus billion that it was before the crash occurs. I'm not expecting it to make it back up to that before the crash occurs. Litecoin's at 125, Bitcoin Cash 706, Ethereum's at 403. And they're all in the green a little bit today. Dash is at 334. Litecoin is up 5%. So that's what's going on with that. Now, the U.S. dollar index, 90.25. So she's up a little bit. And this is what I expect. The dollar's reacting a little bit ahead of gold and silver. I think it's already starting to take off a little bit in anticipation of what's coming. I think we're going to see the dollar go up, and I've thought this all along. They're going to rush to three things, like I say. They're going to rush to gold, silver, and the dollar. So all three of those things are going to take off at a certain point during this crisis. Now, when this crisis turns at the turning point is when the Fed changes their monetary policy. At a certain point, this crisis is going to crush the Fed's monetary policy. Their hawk, when they change from a hawk to a dove, then the dollar is going to die. But gold and silver are going to even go up faster. So gold and silver are going to go up. At a certain point, gold and silver are going to start to move up during this crisis. That's when the crisis starts to really get bad. It's not real bad yet. Right now, the crisis has begun. Most people haven't even noticed that it started, and it's not real bad yet. When the crisis gets real bad, gold and silver is going to take off. Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are going to die at that point. And it's going to continue that way until the Fed changes policy. And when they change, they're going to have to change in a big way. It's not going to be a small move. It's not going to be a small change in policy. It's going to be a 180-degree shift. When the Fed makes that shift, it's just like when you shift the car engine from reverse to forward drive. It's going to be that big of a deal. So right now, they got the car in reverse. When they make the shift, and they shift it into first into forward drive, that's when the dollar is going to start to die. So the dollar will start to fall in at that point. Gold and silver will be going up and up faster, and that's when the cryptocurrencies are going to change direction. And if you haven't got, when that happens, when they shift that car in the first gear of the Fed, if you haven't got your cryptocurrencies by then, you might as well just forget it. They're going to go so high. There's going to be a monster bull market in cryptos. The transition is going to come into cryptos. And the government, at a certain point down the road, now, okay, I'll get into, I might do a special show on that, what's going to happen there. I should do a special show on that, what's going to happen with the cryptos at a certain point, how the government is going to challenge these cryptos, and what's going to be the outcome of that challenging of these free market cryptos. The final outcome, the final story of all of this. See, this is there's many steps in this process of this financial crisis that we're going into. It's not a one big bang thing. It's easy to forecast because there's many different steps to it. And I have to kind of lay out the steps for you the way it's going to go. But we're in the initial phases of it right now. So listen, thank you guys for listening. Like and subscribe. And we'll catch you in the next show. Bye-bye.